Welcome to today's episode where we're going to go over the Rabbit R1, Vault Gemma, and automating tasks with Lindy. Let's go.
Welcome to Brain, bringing righteous anger to the internet now.
Awful. Okay, so every 2 weeks, we're going to be covering kind of the most need-to-know news that you need to get through the week and have good, meaningful conversations with your colleagues and other people that are interested in AI. Of course, every 2 weeks, everything changes, so make sure you're subscribed. We're going to be releasing a few little tidbits throughout the weeks as well. And apparently we're going to turn Brain into a ridiculous acronym every single time.
Some amazing ones.
Yeah, and so we're going to go over those three subjects today. N8N automations. No,
not N8N. Although we can discuss that in the context.
It might come up. We're going to go over the Rabbit R1, Vault Gemma, automating tasks with Lindy. We're going to discuss how to take one or more of those and start a business with them or enhance your current business processes. And then at the very end, we'll have a segment called Brain Teasers, where we'll do a bit of a rapid fire through some pieces of news that you need to know, but that we don't have time to expand on here. But you should definitely look up.
Yeah. We want a lot of comments. We want a lot of likes and subscribes. No, more comments. I'm interested to see how people are using these technologies, like especially in the Brain Teaser section, because we won't have a lot of time to cover them, but just pop the questions back and forth, see how people are using technology like this in their businesses.
Awesome.
Cool.
So you want to talk about your R1?
Yes, let's talk about the R1. I'll be right back.
He didn't know he was going to be talking about it until just now.
The Rabbit R1. So some of you will have seen this little device online. It was introduced by the CEO of Rabbit. Obviously, they sold 100,000 of these units last year. And the intent behind it is like one of the first AI assistants. Fully, you just ask it a question and it's supposed to, the idea was it would use a large action model. They announced this thing called a large action model, which is effectively what a lot of AI companies have done now, kind of using browsers and a large library of interactions to determine what the user is asking for and then go and do it. So a good example would be, I need a taxi right now, or I need an Uber right now. And you could tell the R1, go and do it. And it would do all the things in the background and just get you the ride. So a lot of people are like, well, can't you just do that on your phone? Right. I think that was the main concern, but they did sell 100,000 units, which was quite impressive for a brand new startup in the hardware space.
I think what's impressive too is that was released a year ago, and OpenAI only released their agent mode 6 months ago, 5 months ago.
Yeah, I think you're right. I believe that OpenAI had their agent model, their kind of it was called Agent, go into their product only 6 months ago.
So that's pretty amazing, actually, that a year ago it was doing that. Because my worry is that with a lot of AI-based hardware, by the time you actually make it and ship it, it's out of date.
Yeah,
AI technologies move so fast right now that I don't know how you can physically ship a product
piece of hardware. So it's got an Android variant on it. So, they're using kind of technology. You got to shake it to get to the settings and all. And honestly, it's not the easiest device in the world
You got to show that it's not an Etch-a-Sketch.
It's not an Etch-a-Sketch.
You just got to shake it to reset it.
It's weird. Like, you got to shake it in a specific way to get to settings. But one of the amazing things they just released last week, this was the news I wanted to talk about. They released OS 2. And it went from a purely speak into the device to it has a touch screen on it. So a little card interface, which I'll show kind of on the panel or in the frame of the shot at some point. You'll see like it's a card-based interface and you cycle through cards. One of the features they launched, which I think is like the future of all devices and kind of prescient in my mind, is you can bring up this mode called creator mode and ask it to create the app you wish you had. So it uses vibe coding, but with an agentic device. And then, so I was able to, in 4 minutes, build my own asteroid game, which I will show here. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's like,
but it takes you a while to turn around the little.
so that's the thing. So the controls on the R1 itself are like this little scroll wheel and then a button on the side. So an action button and a scroll wheel. And there's this little camera port, which is front and back, and it kind of spins. It's designed by Teenage Electronics. So people who are in the music space will know the Teenage Electronics company. They're really well known for their design, award-winning designers of hardware. But you connect to the internet, you have these creations, and then you can, here's what's cool. Once you've created an app and it's working and tested, you can actually submit it to the App Store right then and there publicly for the R1. So, you know, it's a small community because it's not a ton of devices out there right now, but they're $199 and super fun to play with. Here's where it's going to fail. And this is when I stopped using it. As soon as I ran out of tokens, it brought up a paywall, and it was like, well, Canadian, it was like $35 a month.
Oh.
I'm like, I already pay a lot for token usage on other platforms, and I didn't know if this one small particular use of tokens in a very confined space would be the best use of that money. Like, that's the math I'm doing in my head.
It'd be good to be able to add your own OpenAI API key or Claude or whatever, and have it just use the tokens you're already paying for.
That's right. So the business idea I had was building these vibe-coded apps, and at some point, like I saw your video earlier, it's on our YouTube channel. Dave talks about the AP2 framework that it's Google that launched, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically an agentic protocol that allows for payments, microtransactions between agents. So that I could see as being highly useful within an app, a vibe app context. Just like if you could just talk to the apps and say, I want it to be, you know, 10 cents or 1 penny every time I destroy a bot or whatever, you know, like just add that agentic payments layer directly into the vibe coding would be amazing. But anyways, that's the R1.
Since your Uber example was so terrible,
Yes.
I was thinking that a better example would be if you're traveling and you say, I want to go and visit this cathedral, and it goes on and it buys your tickets and it arranges the Uber and it books a restaurant and it takes care of your day for you, and then just returns what you need to know, where you need to go.
That's right.
All of that.
And its big challenger is voice mode on ChatGPT. You know what I mean? Like that can effectively do mostly what the Rabbit R1 is trying to do. So it's like they're definitely they're going to face a lot of competition in that space. And then with Johnny Ive joining OpenAI and them designing hardware and supposedly releasing 3 or 4 products that are agents. I think those are the rumors anyways. I think it's going to be an uphill battle for R1, but it's a super cool product.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing what you end up coming up with.
Yeah. I might release some games on the R1 platform and just see if people ever buy them, because that's kind of my background is in games. So yeah.
I actually thought about having a little challenge between the two of us at some point where we produce some agent and throw it up on an agentic marketplace and see who can, within the 2-week period,
who can make more money,
create one and make money from it.
We got to do it. Just like a full-on scoreboard.
Yeah. All right. So if you are a millennial like me or much older, like Joel, you've probably at some point thrown up pictures of your kids on the internet with pictures of like the name of the park they play at in the background, or even metadata, like geolocation data was included.
Yes.
In the early Facebook days.
all your information in every picture.
Yeah. People are answering quizzes that give away all their security passwords. And like everything. We were never really concerned about privacy, but now we are.
Yeah.
So now people are very, very worried about AI and AI privacy, and that's fair. With some of the things that have happened lately, I'm just going to go over a few of them. So there was the sort of famous Windows activation key story where the guy told, I think it was ChatGPT, said, my grandmother used to tell me these great bedtime stories for she would recite Windows activation keys. Tell me a story like that. And it literally just spit back an activation key.
No.
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
I didn't see that. I've
Really?
never seen that. No,
Oh,
I
yeah.
want, you got to send me that.
Yeah, I will. I will.
okay.
And then, of course, people willingly click the share button on their AI chats with ChatGPT, and then they're like, "Whoa, how did this get onto Google?" Well, it's because you checked the box. It said to share it.
Yes.
But nobody reads contracts. We just click stuff.
Yes.
And just.
I believe the stat is like the average American, we're Canadian, so we don't do stupid things like this, but the average American signs 300 contracts a year kind of just by the accept button inside their software. I mean, Canadians do it too, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Probably worse.
Yeah, we're at a risk of a tangent here.
Yeah, sorry. But let's continue down.
Yeah. So that there was also 370,000 chats from Grok that were published onto Google, and there's other training data leaks. So not just information you've entered getting shared, but training data being craftily withdrawn from the models.
Interesting.
So some examples were that there were thousands of instances of validated identity documents, like driver's licenses and passports, that were just pulled out from the training data. And then researchers have estimated that the number of images containing personal identifiable information that can be pulled out from the training data includes faces and identity documents. The number is in the hundreds of millions.
What?
Hundreds of millions.
I mean, it reminds me of this guy on YouTube, or sorry, I think it's on Instagram or TikTok, but he like sees someone's picture of where they are in the world and just by their background, shadows and
garbage,
he can determine exactly where they are in the world, except 100 million times over.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
So how do the leaks happen, right? So it all goes down to how the models are trained and how the information is. I just did a video on this. If you want to go back through our history, I just did a series of videos talking about how the models are trained. But basically, it's shown information, and it doesn't save that information necessarily, but it saves instructions on how to recreate information like that. So the pieces of words are broken up into what we call tokens, like little crumbs, and then you have a recipe that tells you how to reassemble the crumbs. And it should do it just based on concepts, but sometimes the real thing can be teased out. There was actually another example where somebody asked for a phone number for a company, and it gave a private cell phone number out, and the person was like, "How did you get this number?" To the OpenAI, they said, "How did you get this number?"
Interesting.
And the chat said, "Oh, it must have been in one of my databases." They're like, "Databases? You store things in databases?" And ChatGPT replied, "No. What database?" It totally gaslit him. It's like, who said anything about a database?
I didn't say databases.
So people are kind of rightfully concerned. So,
right.
In comes Vault Gemma. It's a product from Google.
Surprise.
That is trained specifically to be private and to kind of obfuscate the training data. It's only a 1 billion parameter model.
Okay.
So it's definitely
on the
not
smaller side.
Yeah. To say the least. Yeah. Like a 1,000th of what ChatGPT would be. It's definitely not big. It's not the best, but it is the biggest and best private model. So there's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
It uses a technique called differential privacy, where each time it's learning new material, it introduces randomization to it to remember patterns, but never the exact order that things were displayed to it in. It has a relatively small context window of 1,000 tokens compared to GPT-5, which is 400,000. And somebody just announced a 1 million context window. Who is that?
Oh gosh,
I think it might have.
It's not Claude.
Yeah, so somebody is. Okay. So generally speaking, 1,024 tokens is pretty small.
Pretty small, yeah.
Context window. Now it was trained on 13 trillion tokens.
Okay.
But with the safety parameters and cutting out personal data and testing questions that are used for benchmarking AI, after paring that all down, it gets down to 1 billion parameters. I think that's a huge amount of data in for a small amount out, and it's because of all that obfuscation and randomization. Now, to train it, the larger amount of data you can train it on at a time, the less biased it becomes.
Right.
So if you were to
It normalizes the data.
So if you were memorizing a sentence of a book every day, by the end of a month, you will have some sentences that stand out in your mind very prominently.
Right.
If you were memorizing an entire 500-page book every day, your knowledge will be more evenly spread out over the content of the book and not over little phrases. And so that's kind of the idea here. So they were training 500,000 words at a time, or tokens at a time, in each step. 500,000. If you've had any training of a model at home, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's immense.
Yeah. And the only way they could do that is through having a ton of processing. And so they were using 2,000 of their advanced AI chips at a time to take that massive amount of data and stuff it.
So those blackouts
right in
in Spain, that was
not related to
this at all.
green energy initiatives or anything like that. It was purely because of this.
Yeah.
Now, in Google's testing, their testing of Vault Gemma exposed no data at all, not a single leak, whereas Gemma 3, which came out just in March, did show leaks. So huge improvement just over the last few months. You can download it now on Hugging Face. It's only 1 billion parameters, so you could run it on like 10 gigabytes of VRAM at home on your local LLM.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And the reason for obviously this newfound interest in security is obviously the 100 million leaks that have happened, or the data, the access to the training information that has gone into these agents kind of broadly. Yeah.
And there's two kind of privacy leaks that occur. One is sheer user negligence, which is sharing content that
for sure
intentionally clicking buttons that you didn't read the agreement. And then there's training data that gets shared, and that's more of what it's preventing here. It's not going to stop human error or human stupidity,
for sure,
but it is going to stop those training data leaks from happening.
That's pretty impressive. They are obviously concerned because humans are becoming more and more aware of the abilities, the capabilities of, like, we're always stretching the capabilities of our agents now. That's what I feel like I'm finding. I'm like, I want you to do more. I want you to do more. And the more you go out, the more personal information is almost required in a sense. So it's like, someone needs to take security and access to information seriously. The government of Canada just signed this big deal with Cohere, which is a Canadian agentic kind of LLM model maker. And that's one of their major pushes, is just this very secure approach to data, especially when it comes to, they want to use it in the CRA, which is our tax management, like the IRS in the US and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty important that we get the security stuff right.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so my next thing
I
wanted to bring up was
why don't you
I'll preempt. Go ahead,
because I know where you're going to end up.
Okay.
Why don't you start with N8N? Because this was like
I was literally going to say I'm going to start with N8N
because that was like the big news. It was like 3 months ago.
Yeah,
not long ago.
No,
it was like the big news.
The biggest thing was that there had been an IFTT or a make.com style node management, workflow management automation process that now had agentic features. You could access, MCP protocols and different agent tools directly in workflows, which was a massive, and is a massive, I would say still a massive deal. N8N, if you haven't used it, they have both a paid front end hosted on the cloud that you can pay monthly for, or you can also download an open source version and host it locally, and it's totally free, and it's an amazing tool. I've loved it. I've used it. I use it every day still, almost on my own automations. But then came in someone
Can we talk about just the setup process for that?
for N8N?
Because I think that's important to understand.
Sure.
You did need some level of technical knowledge and understanding workflows.
Yes.
So let's say you wanted to, you have a list of 100 blog article ideas. You want to write the articles. You want to deploy one to your WordPress site every day. Then at the end of the week, you want to make a digest of all of them and send out an email to your newsletter.
Yes.
You would drag in all the boxes for each of the steps and little lines between them.
That's
and
correct.
say, take the data that's output from here and input it to there and pass it all the way through, and you test it, and sometimes it fails, you have to redo stuff. That was N8N.
Yep.
Super powerful. You could automate, and I've in my work, we've automated processes that were taking dozens of hours, and now it takes dozens of minutes.
Yes. And the other thing is, like, there's a whole industry around this now. Like, there are whole automation agencies that will go into businesses, and they charge you a couple grand a month, and they will automate the processes inside your business. So highly useful, but you're right, quite technical still. You kind of have to know about APIs. You kind of have to know a little bit about JavaScript in N8N's kind of framework. You do need to know some technical aspects of the tools. Okay, so now comes in this new tool called Lindy AI. Lindy is the agent. Think of it as the agent that knows all of the workflow processes for all of these tools. So someone's built an agent on top of an agentic automation workflow tool. Now it doesn't use N8N. It uses another one called Pipedream, I believe. But it's effectively the same thing. You are asking, though, you go into Lindy and you say, let's use your example. I want a blog post every single week.
Basically what I've said.
But what you said, but in a better way. I'll say it in a better way because I know how. I'll use another example. I've actually done this now.
Yeah.
So I run a Dungeons and Dragons website. Nerd. Right? Full on nerd. And I'm okay with it. And most of my friends are too. So I've used it to create a weekly SEO optimized blog, a piece of blog content that goes out every week. And it also notifies any new subscribers to the site's newsletter that there is content that just came out. So it does two things. It's an automation that both gives me the blog posts and checks for new additions to that newsletter list automatically, and it just goes out like on schedule every single time. There's an approval process. It sends me a message that says, are you happy with what we wrote in this format? And I can then go in and modify it, or can just press approve. So all of this is automated. Now that was all built with Lindy. I had originally done it with N8N, but I wanted to see if Lindy could take it over. There are some little tweaks and things you have to do along the way. For instance, it doesn't.
Joel, you have yet to say how it works, and I think that's an important part.
Okay, this is
what you wanted to share your story.
I'm going to share the story, and then I'm going to tell you how I did it.
Okay. This is a good opportunity for like the 1.25 times speed or what. Just we'll put a chapter marker in for when Joel gets to the point.
Skip this one.
Joel gets to the point.
This chapter, and then you can get to how I did it. If you need to, that's fine. So yes. So I got these blogs to go out, and this is how I did it. In Lindy, you log in. It looks similar to OpenAI's kind of framework for ChatGPT. On the left side, you have these projects that you're working on. In the middle, you have a question and you want to do something. Eventually, it shifts over to the left side and it tells you kind of, it just kind of frames the UI as very similar. It's very approachable, is what I'm going to say. Then you ask it a question. I want to create a weekly blog for my Shopify website.
Not a question.
Well, you tell it what you want to do. What?
It's just taking a while to get there.
No.
You just in my example of making the website and the newsletter, you just tell it instead of me telling you.
Yeah.
You tell it,
And that's what
it just makes all of it.
Yeah, it just does all of it. That's what I said.
Yeah, you could have built that automation in Lindy faster
Then
than
I
it took
said it.
Joel to explain how to build an automation in Lindy. But
I'm trying.
you know what I noticed the other day?
Mm.
I went into Zapier,
Mhm.
and they have a Copilot integration that now does the same thing
Right.
with Zapier.
Yeah. And N8N has a framework as well that it's an external tool, but you can bring it into N8N and then just automatically do some automations as well.
Yeah, it's amazing that we've gone just from a few months ago from, wow, look, I can make automations relatively easy with a drag and drop interface.
Yep.
To now, I don't even need to drag things. I can just say it.
Yeah. There still are some hiccups along the way. Like if you go and you sign up for Lindy and you tell it, make me a weekly blog post to my Shopify site, for instance, it will need your Shopify blog ID, which isn't just automatically available and isn't even in the back end of Shopify easily accessible. You do have to kind of get through the technical aspects of it in certain kind of environments or for certain tasks. But it is like head and shoulders above on ease of use from N8N.
And it tends to give you the link right to where you need to get the API key. And if it's a new something you don't even have an account for, usually it's super easy to log in with Google.
That's
and they give you a certain number of free credits, and within minutes you're flying.
That's right. So good.
Business idea coming out of there?
Well, I mean, anyone really could today say, I know how to do AI incredibly well. And then approach any local business that is a service-based business and basically say, hey, do you want a better customer support chatbot on your website? And sell that. And then just go to Lindy and say, make me a chatbot for whatever.com and access that tool, the Lindy AI, as really your back office, or your framework rather, for building these tools without much knowledge about AI at all. And yet, I think AI is going to be part of every business that exists. It will play a major part in the knowledge base, how to access the tool, how to use the service, all of that stuff. So today, people could start a very, I think, lucrative business if they had a decent sales process, which you could automate with Lindy.
Yeah, and if you have an idea, drop it in the comments. Tell us what you've built, what you're thinking of building, what you're going to build, what you're not going to build.
Yeah. And if you do build it, maybe you can become a sponsor. Introducing Kaleo AI, the translation app made for your church to reach everyone in your community. Kaleo AI instantly opens up your church to more than 150 languages with AI translations available in real time for your Sunday services, classes, and programs, sermon recordings, and any other documents and video resources. Kaleo's translation models are custom trained on theological concepts and biblical vocabulary to achieve near perfect accuracy for a church context. And he wrote, because your pastor said epistle, not a pistol. Right? Kaleo AI envisions a future where language is no longer a barrier to the gospel, where anyone in your community can hear the gospel of Jesus Christ and be discipled in their heart language. Sign up at withkaleo.com and start translating your church services with 4 hours of free translation plus VIP white glove onboarding just for Brain Media Consulting listeners. Yeah. Thanks to Aidan Britnell, who is the founder of Kaleo AI. He is our first sponsor.
Amazing.
Yes.
All right. Do you want to talk about our brain teasers?
Brain teasers.
Brain teasers.
All right. So one of the big ones, obviously, that we've talked about a bunch is the investment from NVIDIA into OpenAI.
Yeah.
100 million? No, billion. $100 billion towards generating, what is this? It's like 10 point something gigawatts of processing power.
Of compute, yeah.
All I could picture was Dr. Emmett Brown trying to get the DeLorean Back to the Future. And that's time travel is 1.21. So you could actually send the DeLorean Back to the Future 8 times. For this.
You did the math. That's good.
It wasn't hard. It's 10. OpenAI currently valued at $500 billion. This huge investment doesn't get NVIDIA any voting power or anything like that. It's simply a really good business decision. OpenAI runs on NVIDIA
They're
chips.
investing in themselves.
They are.
Is what they're doing. Because like NVIDIA has the cash. And over time, obviously, they're going to have the cash because this is not going away.
Yeah.
We are at the beginning. We are at the tip of the iceberg of what will happen in AI. I truly believe that in the world. Short of us destroying ourselves in that timeline, I think that we're actually quite early on in the AI space.
It's going to be interesting to see what other software and hardware partners kind of emerge. Who's AMD going to align with?
Yeah, and what's crazy is like OpenAI is already aligned closely with Microsoft. Like there's a huge investment there. Now there's a huge investment with OpenAI. Oh, sorry, with NVIDIA. And there are. See, what I'm interested in finding out is stuff like Tesla building their own GPUs and the efficiency of those GPUs vis-a-vis NVIDIA's GPUs. NVIDIA has a huge head start, like just a massive head start when it comes to compute and the approach to the usage of that compute. So I don't know. I don't know that there's anyone who's going to even come close to NVIDIA on compute-powered chip creation technologies. Yeah. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, it's a good transition into Microsoft there, actually, because they announced that they have been funding research for a light-based processor. So moving away from transistors into using micro LEDs that don't just turn on and off, but actually vary their intensity in order to produce data signals. And the light-based system means that this is happening within the processor. By the way, the light. It's that we often when we talk about light, we think about fiber optics and the transfer of data. This is happening within the processor, and because there's it's not just on and off. There's more data that can be processed at once, and it can be done at a lower power investment.
There are so many avenues where energy savings can be made still, and I think that was one of the challenges of Moore's law. Is like how do you get smaller on the footprint of a die? You can only get so small, so you have to gain advantages in other ways, right? So if the transistor is the actual kind of the bottleneck, then let's change the transistor to some new light thing. It's pretty remarkable, honestly.
Yeah, Moore's law is a whole other conversation that I think maybe next session we'll talk about. And how that relates to the AGI leaderboard. Because that curve is off the charts, like literally off the charts.
Yes.
So Moore's law is actually super interesting that you bring that up, saying that the computer power was going to double, I think, every 2 years, and that's actually slowed down over time. But the growth towards AGI has gone way faster than we thought it was going to go.
Right.
So the efficiency is being made in the way that the data's processed, but not physically processed, just logically processed.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've gone from something that is an informational, structural change. That's Moore's law is informational in a sense, but from a cognition perspective, from like a access to intelligence perspective, we started off pretty recently on like, I wonder if these machines can be intelligent, and so. The direction towards AGI, to your point, is like explosive. It's not the same curve at all. It's not every 2 years. Like the speed at which we're approaching into fully intelligent systems, it's I don't know how many times faster than Moore's law, but it's a lot faster.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's rumors that Grok 5 is potentially going to reach AGI, and who knows when that's going to be released, right? Like it could be anytime.
Yeah, I think I was reading on Twitter or X rather. Sorry to date myself. I was reading the other day how there are rumors that AGI has been accomplished inside the Grok compute data centers already. Like there's who knows if that's true, but like I wonder if the rumors are real.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to investing, right, they say invest in the rumors and sell out the news.
Yeah, exactly.
But the rumor right now is that Grok 5 should be launched by December.
Interesting.
So,
yeah, I for one welcome our new AI overlords.
yeah. Did you have any interesting brain teaser facts? Because I have one more if you'd like.
I was more thinking about some opportunities. I heard about this AP2, which I think is huge news. Like a lot of people need to know about it. You know, when there are technologies and they make lives easier, that's great. I think agentic frameworks and agentic kind of workflows are great. But as soon as you bring payment structure into that, it obviously makes every entrepreneur's ear tingle, right? Like, how do I use this to make money? And one of the things that I hate most as a human being, and I think this is pretty broad. I hate ads. I hate advertising. I hate being advertised to. But would I mind my agent being advertised to?
Yeah.
I don't think I would mind. So I can imagine a marketplace of agents, which is only accessible by agents, and that there's an ad framework within the marketplace that tries to convince through ads an agent to pick that service.
Yeah. And there's going to be some level of SEO sort
That's
of
right. That's right.
optimization that's happening in there because it has to convince
It's
the AI that
convince
I
AI.
am the best for this job. Pay me an extra hundredth of a penny for every call.
Exactly right. So that's kind of the brain teaser I had is like, man, is there a future where we don't even see ads anymore? It's all our agents that are accessing these frameworks for convincing us to use specific tools.
Yeah, super interesting.
Yeah.
There was another piece that was released by Apple about their watch and a blood pressure monitor.
I heard about this.
So they had a study with 100,000 people that were enrolled in some heart movement study. It was launched in 2019, so they have five or 6 years of data. And what they discovered was that they could monitor people's blood pressures, not with new sensors, but by reanalyzing the data they already had. And that pattern was identified with AI. So they can actually introduce a blood pressure monitor through a software update just by looking at the existing data differently.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's remarkable. They were able to validate the results with a study of 2,000 participants. And it's supposed to work as far back as the Series 9. So several versions ago.
Wow.
They'll be able to roll out an update that monitors your heart pressure.
Yeah, and wasn't there a point, it was relatively recent, where they, like the EU or someone pulled their ability to get the data from people's Apple Watches, and you had to go to another service to like look at it. You weren't able to access it on your watch or something like that. There was some, I'll have to check. I'll update this in the description if we find out what it is. But I think there was a limitation that Apple had in certain regions where they couldn't allow people to transfer their blood pressure information via the watch.
Right.
So they had to kind of like cap some usage on their Apple Watch. So I wonder if this kind of circumvents that limitation. That's very interesting. Yeah.
And then so you're talking about the Rabbit. Got me interested in hardware using AI. And of course we've launched several Kickstarters together. I think between us we've launched like 15
14, 15, something like that.
Yeah. So I was really curious, like what is out there that's incorporating AI? So one was the Vertus X AI mechanical keyboard. It's a mechanical keyboard with AI. So I'll give you a moment to kind of think about how the heck does this incorporate AI?
Okay.
Well, it looks like what they've included is a microphone that's built in. There's built-in language translation. It'll identify. This was a feature. It said it will identify different speakers in a room and give you a transcript. Like, are you going to carry your mechanical keyboard into your boardroom so you can track? Anyways, they're around $200. They're supposed to be delivering in November. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see the benefit. I have a microphone button on my keyboard, and the computer can do the rest. I can't see myself carrying the keyboard to do that job.
One of the little AI tips that I'm using now, which is I love that it's in my phone already, and if it's in mine, it's in everyone else's, like iPhone. Basically, if you go to the record voice notes, if you go to a meeting and you want to record it, you ask the person to record it, you press record. In the edit page of the voice note, there's now a little like dialogue button. You click on it, and it summarizes the full meeting, and it's already on your iPhone.
Yeah.
It's like
or on the Google Pixel, which had it like a couple of years before the iPhone. Where you could just sit the phone between you and it would just translate. Even like you would speak in different languages and it would just translate it. Did you see there with the Pixel 10 the real time voice translation?
Oh, I did. Did you see the Apple one that they had it at the most recent Apple event where the girl had her AirPods in?
Yes.
And that's pretty cool. Just hold your phone up and the other person can see what you're saying.
Yeah. So with the phone, with the Pixel, you could call somebody that only speaks Spanish and you only speak English. And as you speak in English, it will translate it into Spanish and replay it in your voice.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Including any sort of emphasis and intonation, all that.
This is a great place to introduce our sponsor, Kaleo. Yeah.
And then the last one, actually, there's two more AI-powered Kickstarters.
Yes.
One is called Ultrian. It's a nutrition scale. It looks just like a scale. So I was like, what part of this scale is AI powered?
Right.
And they said it'll tell you your net carbs. If you're keto, it'll tell you how much sugar. If you're diabetic, it'll give you all the nutrition information. I was saying, how? How? And it shows a picture of broccoli sitting on there. So how's it doing this? Well, you have to take a picture of it with your phone.
I was like, there's already an app like this on the App Store that you can use, and it's built by like a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
And he just fed it like recipe books with calorie data.
Yeah.
And it just like knows what it is that you're making. And
so the only difference is that this scale gives the data to the phone. And then it had a moment where they said if there's a risky food that hits the scale, the orange light lights up. And on the scale, there's an orange light that lights up. They're at a restaurant. They're literally at a restaurant. And they put a bun, like a piece of bread. And it's like, warning, gluten. First of all, the camera and the scale don't know if it's a gluten-free bun. There's no way. So you'd actually have to put in glutinous buns on the scale. Like that's the thing. So it was about $90.
I'm just I want to do that at a restaurant that's like really fancy.
Yeah.
And just
I can't eat this.
Bring my scale and then just grab my beautifully crafted steak and just plop it onto the scale.
You should.
I'll do that.
Yeah, you should do that.
It'd be weird, but I'll do it.
And then the last one was actually super cool. And I suggest that you put a video of it here as I speak. It's called the Ace 2? Ace II? One tennis partner. That's what it's called. ACEII, one tennis partner.
Okay.
It looks super cool. It serves tennis balls to you. So it sits on the other side of the court. It shoots a ball to you. You serve it back.
Yep.
As the ball's returning to it, it runs over with its wheels to where the ball would be if you were a human player and serves you another ball from that location.
Wow.
So it takes a lot of balls to make something like that work, but it will basically just keep shooting the ball back as if it was a human. And there's different training modes. There's a ball boy mode. So if you actually have friends to play with, it'll just pass you a new ball whenever you need one. They show it working on clay and grass. Presumably it'll work on asphalt. It's about $1,200.
Wow. That's an amazing price,
it looks super cool. At the end of the game, it folds itself up into a little package and you pick it up with a couple handles, I think, and then carry it home.
That is amazing. Did you hear what the Toronto Blue Jays are doing?
Not specifically.
So when they have at the stadium here in Toronto, this AI pitcher, and it has a screen opposite the batter. The pitcher is that they're facing that night You can take the ball trajectory, the speed, the curve, everything, all of the characteristics of that pitcher they're going to face.
What?
And it throws them the ball to the batter so that they can prep for that pitcher.
That's crazy.
And that's why they're only winning when they're at home. Their road game sucks, but their home game is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, I got one more. Okay. The world's first AI calculator with built-in camera. Well, the world's first if you don't count all the cell phones.
Billions of devices.
Yeah, it looks like a scientific calculator.
Okay.
So tiny little LCD display. You take a picture of your work and it goes and finds the answers. So you could have it. It looks like it's basically for cheating. Right. Without being obvious that you're using your phone. So you hold up your calculator.
Is this on Kickstarter as well?
Yeah.
It'll do great.
It's called the 7Cal.
Yeah.
You pick it up, you snap a picture of your thing, it goes on the internet, it tells you the answer on the display.
And so
because
goes
you're allowed
the way
to use
of the
calculator in exams.
Yep.
And then there's like a boss mode where if the teacher's coming, you push a button and it shows a random equation on the display to hide the fact that you were using AI to solve the answers. This is bad news. Bad news? Good news? Not sure. There's a Wi-Fi plus 4G version, which is $200 with 3 months of AI service.
That's actually pretty good.
But I don't know how much.
I remember in high school paying $140 for a scientific calculator.
Yeah.
Like I never used it, but
yeah. And that's like that's old money.
Yeah, that's like old money.
Exactly. That's a lot in today's money.
To like $490.
Yeah. No. 3 months of AI service. So I guess there's like a subscription model. I couldn't find information about it. Now here's the description of one of the backing points.
Okay.
Start smart. Stay ahead. Early birds enjoy 20% off and 3 months of 500 credits built in AI on us. Choose 4G and we'll add 3 more months of 1 gigabytes after. Just 1 month. Early matters.
Fair. Did it use the text that was generated by the AI thinking mode?
I don't know.
It probably did.
It was a little hard to understand what they were trying to communicate there. 500 credits for 3 months. After that, 3 more months of 1 gigabyte. So they moved from credits to gigabytes. Early matters.
Yeah, early matters.
Yeah,
because it does.
So so I'll put the links to all those guys in the description. You can check them out. AI hardware. It's something else.
I mean, I don't even know what to say to that because I'm afraid I'm going to insult someone in the wrong way, and then it'll just be backlash on. I'll get canceled.
Well, we better wrap up then.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us. Today is our first kick at the AI can.
Mm-hmm.
Please do comment and subscribe. It makes a big difference, especially on these early videos, to help us get the algorithm ball rolling. Unless you're Joel's mom or Joel's mom.
She passed away 2 years ago. Thanks for that, Dave. Anyways.
If you're a relative, don't bother.
Please don't thumb up. Thanks, Dave. Anyways, we can wrap up here. And we will see you in 2 weeks, where likely everything we just talked about will have totally changed again.
Bye.
It's because you're too used to making mom jokes.